Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, Elon Musk, the America Party, what it's really all about. Coming at you right now. Good morning and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It is Friday, July 11th, and we have a blockbuster show for you today, a blockbuster show. Let's open up with some viewer mail really quickly. We've got Gail McNaughton of Houston, Texas, and her category is Your Show. All right, Gail, I'm going to read your message. Daniel, you have a lot of opinions on many things. The audience loves you. Well, thank you, Gail. It's about time a famous actor spoke up for our side. Why do you do the show? Wow. I mean, we could do, I feel like I should lay down in a psychiatrist's office to talk about why I do the show because, well, first of all, let me say thank you so much for the compliment and break this question down a little bit. I do have a lot of opinions on many things. I've been around, I'm 64 years old. I've been in the entertainment business since 1987, 88. So I've seen quite a bit, TV series, big movies, little movies, crummy movies, cool independent movies. You know, I mean, like every actor that makes a career of it, if you're fortunate enough to work enough. I've seen from Oscar-winning, movies, several awards on many films I've been in have won. Golden Globes, Oscars, TV series that have won Emmys, and all that nonsense. And that have made a lot of money, which is really what it is. It's a business. So I've seen stuff that I just, you couldn't imagine. Like some of the things I've seen where I go, oh my God, that person really did that. Like they said that, mind-boggling. So through the acting thing, through financial success or your athletic endeavors, Michael Jordan, for instance, he's had the light on him and he's had a microphone in front of his face and cameras for many, 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 many years. I never knew Michael to be extremely politically minded, but certainly had the pulpit. Now, nowhere near at that level, 1/1,000,000th of anything that Michael could do to influence. But I have a family that are actors in varying levels of success with very, very different opinions on many, many things, who have used their popularity to voice their opinions. So we're definitely a very politically minded family. I've been very quiet politically, to the point where I've been criticized, Gail. I've been criticized by members of my own family. Why are you talking now? Well, I think it's a very critical time. And also because I was on the left for a long time. I was blue, I was a Democrat, I was proud of being a Democrat and what they stood for, and I think that there's a vacancy there now. I don't believe that they support the things that I find important. For instance, I always think about my children and how I want them raised and what I want to do. And remember that years back, I wasn't the most responsible father. I've made some critical errors in my career, in my personal endeavors. I'm sober, and there was addiction issues, all kinds of stuff that I had to learn. It was part of my journey, and I've learned those lessons. The Democratic Party no longer supports my value system. That's a big part of it for me. My Christianity, what I've focused on in my life to make the necessary changes to be a better human being. So there's one reason why. My Christian values, probably the most important thing. Why I do the show. I look at things out there. I see the information that we're being fed. I get to see firsthand sometimes, or from people that are right in the game, influential people, what's really happening. And I go, excuse me, man, that's not what I saw in the news. That's not what CNN reported. They twisted this into, and they go, yeah, that's not what happened. That's not really what happened. There's an element of truth like that. There was a meeting. The meeting took place on this date. The meeting took place in that city. But what was said in that meeting and what Trump did, or what was said in that meeting and what Bush did, or whatever it was, Clinton could be, there seems to be an agenda. Let me rephrase that. Gail, there is an agenda that takes place in Washington, D.C. and around the world to shape your thoughts, to shape your opinions. There are entire rooms of people that work for news industries, Fox and CNN, all of them. and they sit there and they go, okay, well, here's what's happening. The president is going to this country and he's going to meet about this. How do we turn this into a pro-blue Democratic day? How do we do that? What lies do we tell the American people and not care at all about any ramifications or what it might cost us in court? Or about, I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. So I got tired of worrying about whether or not we were getting the right information. And I got tired of finding out about how screwed up the information really was. And today's show, which will be about this new party that Elon Musk is saying that he's going to start, will show you exactly how twisted it becomes. I have a big mouth. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know that about me. I try to report what I understand to be the truth with an opinion and a twist to it that favors what I believe, but I never cloud the facts. I never look at things and say, let's just make it less people and let's not make it a fire. Let's make it a disturbance. Or let's, you can mold this into whatever you want. I report to you after looking into, and I got criticized a lot in the beginning about, you need to report the facts about Kamala, or you need to report the facts about Trump. And it turned out my facts were right. It turned out that the things that I told you were going to happen, they all happened. Not some, not a couple. How many states he'd win, what states he'd win, that he'd win in a landslide electoral college-wise, that he would be president again for sure. There's a guy named Jim Rickards, and I read some of his stuff from time to time. And he's got some real inside sourceful information of people that don't come on the news and tell you what's really going on. And I've read some of his stuff. And it's funny because I read about him because he was predicting the same things that I said, only I predicted them almost a year before he did. And so I like to follow people that are like-minded, like some of the people that watch my show probably are more Republican. They lean more to the right, and they listen to what I say, and they cheer it on because it supports what they believe. But I look in deeper than you probably will. The average telephone that reports the headline from whoever you follow, Fox, CNN, what side, you want to hear hoorah for your team, and so on. I look at it more than that. I look at the flood in Texas. Terrible, terrible, all those children. What an awful thing. And how now already red is sitting up there saying, hey, we need to help these people right now. And the blue is saying it's Trump's fault he cut money for weather prediction and all this other crap. Now it turns out that they were seeding the clouds. Just 2 days before, in this area, they were putting up chemicals up into the clouds and trying to alter the weather and bring rain. Who is responsible for that? How deep will that investigation go? Is that a political situation? I know one thing. A minute ago, you were blaming it on Trump. A minute ago, you were saying that Trump didn't respond, Trump didn't this, Trump didn't that. And they turned a natural disaster, which may not be all that natural, into a political situation. That's what I mean about forming the information that comes out, the agenda-driven stuff. I do the show because I feel like I have to say something. I do the show because I feel that in my service to humanity and my service to God, I need to talk about stuff when I find out about it and do maybe a little bit more homework than you have the average amount of time to do. And a great loss to myself. I mean, last year I was still getting calls to go to on TV shows. I don't get those calls at all anymore. So the people that make those decisions in Hollywood, they make those decisions based on you supporting the big bowl of crap that they eat and they swim in. And when I criticize California, I get feedback like, we're the 7th largest global, we're the 5th largest global. If we were a country, I didn't say California doesn't make a lot of money, it doesn't have a lot of people, it doesn't have a lot. What does that have to do with how hard it is to be a veteran with minimal money available to them and live on the streets of California, and how it just keeps getting worse? I mean, I've seen video live, talk to people live on my phone, FaceTiming them, of what Oakland looks like right now, what San Francisco looks like right now, what Los Angeles downtown looks like right now. And then you show videos out of Malibu and people go, we're not having riots here in California. Well, you're not having riots in Malibu. No, you're not. You're just having fires and the Palisades are burning to the ground with suspicious fires and water supplies that aren't allowed. I mean, if you don't see the overall picture of how the government runs everything, and if you don't see how bad it is in California, and you want to challenge me and tell me that, I'm an asshole because I say this, I'm just telling you what I'm watching happening. You can't bail my opinion about what I'm seeing. All of the Pacific Palisades, a large, vast majority of it, burning to the ground, and now they're going to put up these little cities just in time for the Olympics. And are you kidding me? You don't see that those fires were started with intent? You don't see that? You don't see that was a plan? Okay, well then I'm the asshole that you think I am. So Gail, thanks for your message. I do the show because my faith and my patriotism to the United States of America. It's a great country. A lot of boys and girls out there fighting to keep us free. A lot of men and women out there, officers, and the hard people that do the hard job. And so God bless America. Here we go in today's episode. After a public split with Donald Trump over the big, beautiful bill, Elon Musk launched the America Party in an effort to challenge the U.S. two-party system. Elon Musk, the tech titan who reshaped global industries from electric cars to space travel, is now betting his fortune and reputation on an even riskier venture, dismantling America's two-party political system. 3 weeks after a public feud with U.S. President Donald Trump over federal spending, Musk announced the creation of his own political party, the America Party. Wow. So, I mean, I guess we have to take a look at history first, because history usually will tell you a pretty good idea of what's going to happen in America. This is not something new. The America Party is needed to fight the Republican Democratic Uniparty, Elon Musk posted on X, announcing that he's forming a third party. Okay, so would it be great? Let's think hypothetical first. Would it be great for this new party? And would this new party have a chance? Because, I mean, obviously, if I'm going to do something, I want to win. I want it to be successful. So do I believe that the America Party has an opportunity to win races and have a president, especially, win the presidency over an incumbent in either party or a challenger in either party? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe he'll get it to that level. I don't. It would be nice to think in America, the dream, that you could do that, but I don't know that the machine will ever allow it. I don't know. They have enough power to squash. Now, Musk has a lot of money. There's no question. So if there was going to be somebody, it would be a billionaire type that could bring that kind of funding to do what would be necessary, which would be to reshape and retool. He owns a platform in X. He's definitely a candidate that if there was ever going to be somebody that was going to do it, but this has been done before. And my antenna goes up, my radar goes up a little bit when I see this. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Knowing that the chances that he would be forming something that would actually give him or somebody else an opportunity to win the election are so minute. So what's he really doing? That's right away what I went to. In logical terms, and I've seen it done before politically, and I'll go over it with you now, a third party only damages one of the other major parties. So let me read this to you. Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who has been a Republican, an independent, and Democrat, decided not to run for president in 2016 because he said he would take votes from Hillary Clinton and hand the White House to Trump. So Bloomberg, who has been in all three parties, mayor of arguably individual city-wise, the most powerful city in the country and one of the most powerful cities in the world. He's not going to run because it would have hurt Hillary. And so he did not want Trump to get in, obviously. And he felt that if he ran, so there's a pool, here's a big bag of voters, that all of them to vote for all the elections in the US. If the Republicans take this many and the Democrats take this many in these close elections, and now a third party is going to run, he has to take from one of the two pools. He's going to hurt somebody. Bloomberg, rather than run to make his conscience known and give Americans a choice, at another look like Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy dropped out. That might have swung the election, this last election. Certainly the number that he represented, I think around 7%, was big enough. Had that all gone to Kamala, she'd have beat Trump. She probably would have beat him. Of course, he came to her and asked her to be part, the rumor is, and she turned him down. Well, guess what? She's out in California, not doing much that I know of, and certainly will not be the Democrats' choice, although she's still a front runner. That's going to fade away. They're not going to elect that woman president, I don't believe, and they certainly better come up with somebody bigger and better than her to challenge J.D. Vance, because he will most likely be the Republicans. Now, we have Musk starting this new party. So there's one example of when I said I was suspicious of what was really going on here. Here's a guy, a powerful guy, mayor of a big city, very, very wealthy, a candidate to do a third party, was at one time an independent, a Republican, and a Democrat, but he said, if I run, it's going to definitely, the people I appeal to will be people that probably would have voted for Hillary, which would mean for sure, because he knew he couldn't win. He wasn't going to win as an independent. He wasn't going to beat Hillary as a Democrat. He would have to run as an independent. So having him run, now if he was a guy that would have helped the Republicans would have backed him to run to hurt Hillary, but he didn't like Trump. He didn't want. Now here's the one that comes to my mind. In 1992, Ross Perot ran unsuccessfully as an independent candidate for the President of the United States. Perot was a Texas industrialist who had never served as a public official, but he had experience as the head of several successful corporations and had been involved in public affairs for the previous 3 decades. Grassroots organizations sprang up in every state to help Perot achieve ballot access following his announcement on February 20th, 1992, on Larry King Live. James Stockdale, a retired Navy vice admiral, was Perot's running mate. So why did Ross Perot run? It's the same as what Bloomberg said. Perot didn't like Bush. Bush was vice president under Ronald Reagan from 84 to 88, and then Bush Sr. won 88 to 92. So now Bush Sr. is going for his second term. And Ross Perot, and there's a lot of rumors about oil deals that went on in Texas that Perot and his family, felt that the Bushes screwed them on and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line was, if Perot ran, a billionaire industrialist, arguably, he is a Trump type, a Bloomberg type, a guy that could throw a lot of money in to TV, and he had this grassroots organization. Perot knew he wasn't going to win. Perot knew he wasn't going to win. And Perot knew, because he was a billionaire and he was going to hurt Bush. Perot ran to make sure that Bush didn't win, to make sure that Clinton won. He ran to hurt Bush's chances of being reelected to the White House. He could have that kind of effect in a very close race, and he did. He cost Bush the election, no doubt. He was on all 50 states in the ballot. He was in the debates, very likable, kind of a little stiff. Had a bit of a weird voice, like I can't do an impression of him, but he had this voice that was. But he spoke about family, he spoke about God, and he reached out to enough people that Bush didn't win. And so that, again, the personal vendetta parts of it, all that stuff, I don't care about. He shaped American history. He changed what probably would have been the outcome had he not run of an election. And the starting of Clinton. Clinton was 92 to 96, 96 to 2000, and then came Bush. So Bush Jr. Is there some kind of play like that going on right now? Is there something happening right now that Musk has turned around and decided that he's going to change? So I tried to really look at it. If it was Musk himself that ran, which I don't think he could win. I think he'd have to find somebody else that they propped up there and they said, but I don't think they could win. So what's the real reason? Musk would know that. Musk would know he cannot beat one of the Democrat or Republican primary winners. He can't. He can't, not with this new format. So then I read this, and this really made me start to think about it. Billionaire Elon Musk has said he regrets some of the posts he made about US President Donald Trump during their war of words on social media. This was June 11th. They went too far, he wrote on social media platform X. The two were embroiled in a public fallout after the Tesla owner stepped back from his White House role and called Trump's tax bill a disgusting abomination. His post comes after Trump said he was open to the possibility of reconciliation in an interview with the New York Post on Wednesday. The president said he was a little disappointed about the fallout, but there were no hard feelings. So now that's as far as you're going to get from Donald Trump, in my opinion, from the president, saying sorry, or having regret. He normally doesn't double back like that. He doesn't. So what does that mean? They tweeted these things out. They're saying these things in the press. It's not like it's rumored there. They made it public. That came out of their mouths or off their telephone or however they choose to use social media. I think everything at this level has a message. I think everything has some kind of alter meaning that you have to really focus on what's real and what's not real, because there's a lot of illusion going on. This is all like an IMAX movie to me. Watch out, because you can make someone look like they're a tiger and it's really a human being. I mean, it's that complicated. It really is. So we know Musk knows he can't win. We know Musk knows a third party would only hurt probably the Republicans. Does he really want to hurt the Republicans, or is there a way that his third party would hurt the Democrats? Because the Democrats have done what they've done immigration-wise. They've let all these people and then bust them into key areas where they need to win those states in order to win the election. So they literally, which counties did Trump win? Let's send, 5,000 immigrants from Mexico, fund them, back them, get them housing, change the entire dynamic of these towns. Some of them very small, but it changes the outcome of the election because of how the Electoral College works in each state. So they flooded the market. Now, of course, we're trying to remove people that came here illegally, but there's going to be a lot of them that are going to stay ineligible to vote. There's somehow the starting of a third party, and then it dawned on me how brilliant it is that he would start a third party. First of all, it would be a lot less expensive than him funding Trump or J.D. Vance and the hundreds of millions of dollars that he put into their campaigns. But what if the person that runs in that party was Latino? What if he was someone who was fluent in their language? What if he was someone that successfully made it through the system, his family, into America, became a citizen, was a proud Mexican national that now was in an assembly position or a congressional seat or whatever? Would those voters that they're counting on to elect the Democrat now shift over to their national hero? This Zoran guy who's going to take up a lot of Middle Eastern voters. I don't know how much of an influence that's going to be, and I hope this guy. I'm a little fearful of him, but you see what I mean. There's a lot of people of Mexican and Latin descent that live in this country. There's a lot of people who speak Spanish who vote in the U.S. now. It's the upcoming market for people to be looking at either side. And I'd say the Democrats probably have an edge. No doubt they have an edge when it comes to the Latino voters. A lot of Puerto Ricans in New York City in particular. I grew up on Long Island in the city. Knew a lot of guys that were Puerto Rican that lived in the city. They're a powerful group because of their numbers. But I'd say California and Mexico, being a neighboring country that touches us land-wise on the border of the southern tier of the United States, has probably more influence in the Latin market. But if they ran somebody who was Latino as a counterpunch, see, that's where I go. That's like, what are they up to? What are they really doing? What does this party stand for? And are they really going after the dream of winning? I think they know. I think a guy with the advisors that Musk has, if he gets his ego out of the situation, he realizes he can't win. Now they're reaching out to each other, based on this last document that I read, that no hard feelings, we're sorry, let's make up. But he already went ahead and announced that they're running this new party It made me very suspicious. It made me sit up on edge and say, what the hell are they really doing? What are they up to? There's something going on here. There's something, because it doesn't make sense. You're just throwing your money out the window thinking that you're going to beat the Republicans or the Democrats and become the president of the United States. That's just not going to happen. So is it a countermeasure? Is it a Houdini move? You're looking over here, but really we're over here doing this. So, and I think that goes on, that diversion, all the time in this country, all the time. From, missiles being sent to, a country that has an actor with absolutely no foreign policy or no political history, the Zelensky guy. I mean, that all is just such a shit show over there and such nonsense. But then it started making me think, do you have an opportunity to become president of the United States? Do you have an opportunity to run? Could I run a grassroots program? Could I start doing town halls and taking it to the street and walking in and saying, listen, I liked George Bush Jr. I liked him. Was he a very bright guy? He went to Yale and he's a Bush, but I didn't think he was an above average smart guy. I didn't. Nice guy, but no, I didn't think so. And he was president for 2 terms. During some historically really radical, crazy times, this guy was president. So a guy like that, I don't care what his political degree says, who was, just an average guy, intelligence-wise, kid from Texas, not super smart. He was president for 8 years. And I started thinking to myself, man, if that guy could be president, I could be president. Why can't I? Why couldn't I be president? Why couldn't I run on what I believe? Why? It used to be, it seemed, that you ran on a lot more of a value system of what you believed in and what you, how you put things in importance. Family, God, marriage, children, and the rest followed that, because it was taken for granted that a godly man or woman, but a godly man historically, would not do certain things or would not lead our country into certain money-seeking, dishonest places. Ha! Are you fucking kidding me? It's all about money. It's all about the money. Once the money becomes the key factor, they all fall. When you see, it's so frustrating to me to think that there's people that are in congressional seats and senators. There's people who have become president and their families, foundations and stuff, have done some of the most ruthless shit around the world, have killed people, have been responsible for the murder of witnesses that could have testified against them, have done the most ruthless, disgusting things. And all of it, money. All of it for money. All of it for their friends' financial gain. All of it. And there's evidence right now. Why hasn't the list come out? Why hasn't the list come out about Epstein? Next episode, I'm going to tell you exactly why. The next episode I'm going to do on the list, and I'm going to tell you why the list hasn't come out. Because I know why. I absolutely know why. And it's sad. It's sad, but this is how the game is played. The game is played with a certain rule book intact with those people that run those parties. And Trump is not a member of the overall, decades, hundreds, centuries of old guard in the Republican Party. But even he can't outrun the bullet of some of these people that really run the show. And you'll see. Next episode, I'll tell you about the Epstein list. I'll tell you about the missing minute. I mean, it's every bad thing you imagined, because it's so obvious. It's so obvious. And yet still, they know. Barack Obama said, you just pound them with information, pound the press, pound them with disinformation. If you say enough times, Trump's a crook, Trump's a crook, Trump's a crook, 94 counts, New York, big real estate, big money, billionaire, 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 and make it loud enough. And you keep pounding. It's got to be true, right? CNN's telling us that. It's got to be true. It's got to be true. The guy's a crook. It's got to be true. It's got to be true. He is. And then you sit back there, and after hearing about it for months and years, you go, well, here's what he did. He said his hotel was worth $400 million. He asked $400 million to sell it. They offered $200 million. And then a bank person, just like anyone selling their house, came in and said, I think it's worth, $260. So he overvalued the land, what he was asking to try to make on the sale of a building, which we all do. What the fuck are you talking about? And they found him guilty on 94 counts of taking different properties and trying to gain his, because it was fraud that he said that they were worth X amount of dollars? Are you kidding me? The New York real estate industry would collapse tomorrow if you prosecuted everybody that did that. You ever watch these shows on real estate, these reality shows? We're going to try to get, 300 million. We're going to try to get 20 million for this apartment. We're going to try to, and then they sell it for 15. Why wasn't that guy prosecuted for asking for 22? Why wasn't he prosecuted? How dare he? When an evaluator came in an assessor came in from the bank and said, it's only worth 17. Why wasn't he arrested? Because he wasn't running for president and he didn't represent something that was threatening to an entire party. So they decided to manufacture this whole thing, get friends of theirs that were judges, find him guilty, and tarnish his name for history to all take a look at and to try to win an election. That's why they did it. That's why. They're going to throw people at you. They're going to say he raped women. They're going to throw Epstein. He visited the island. Listen, let me clarify something to you. This guy was a prominent business guy. I don't know him. I never went to the island. I don't know anything about, what goes on there. I've heard the rumors now that it's all made it public, that there's videotapes, that there's all this kind of stuff. I know people that went to that island. I've met them. I know them. Do you think that everyone that went to the island to make so I'm sitting here tomorrow. I have a situation right now in the Dominican Republic where a friend of mine developed this entire resort. And he said, why don't you just come down with your wife and blah, blah. Now, I know this guy business-wise a long time. He's a good guy. If I got on the plane and went down with my wife, if I got on the plane and went down alone, am I going with the intention of meeting or doing something illegal or doing something that's morally reprehensible? Or no, I don't know anything about that. Now, you go down, you're at the pool, you're in this beautiful cabana house, whatever you're in, and then 3 girls walk by who look very, very young in bikinis, and they go, hi, do you want to? And I go, yeah, no, scram, honey, I'm married, and that's just not going to happen. Did that happen? Probably thousands of times. They brought you down there so they could put a hold on you, so they could own you. If you're a senator that goes down there and some girl telling you she's 21 who's really 16, 15, takes you into the room and have some kind of sexual encounter with you and they film it, they own you for good, forever. Do I believe for 1 minute that a man that I know, that I've met, that I've worked with, worked under, worked for, went down and had sex with underage girls, knowing that he was going down there to have sex with underage girls, or that he went down there and found out and had sex with underage girls, that doesn't drink, that doesn't smoke, that has been a pillar and one of the most loved industrialists and billionaires up until he decided to run and become a Republican. Do I believe that he did that? No, not a chance do I believe that. But they're going to show pictures of girls running around, jumping up next to him at a party. They're going to show him with his arm on Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a huge friend to the Clintons. Huge friend. Dealt with them all the time. Bill Clinton went to that island a lot of times. Did Bill Clinton know? Did Bill Clinton have sex with underage girls? I don't know. I haven't seen the tape yet. But he's certainly on the manifesto. He has admitted to being on that island several times. Now, if I go down to the island, like this situation that I have in the Dominican Republic, if I go there and I find out that that's going on, or I find out that some other, there's heroin being used, I would never go back. I'd get on a plane and come home immediately. I wouldn't lend my name to it. I would stop doing business with that person, and I'd never go back. Are there a lot of people that probably happened with? Yes. Are there a lot of people who went down there and they were never approached, or they were approached by some young girl and you found out he would never do that? Did he continue to go down because he didn't know that this was going on? That's possible too. I don't know the answer, but we're going to paint it. We're going to paint it like we know they did something. And we're going to shape your opinion by seeing, somebody walk up to ask them if they want a cocktail that looks young in a bikini. There he is. There he is right now. There he is. Do you know, I remember I won't name the actress, but very famous actress. And it was back in like the early 90s. And I was walking out of the Columbus Cafe. It was a really trendy spot, a lot of actors and stuff. I was in there with Sean Penn and Scott Plank, who passed away, God rest his soul. Chris Penn, some guys, some younger guys. We were bold and brash and out on the town and doing our thing. And as I walked out, I pushed the door open like this, and right behind me, so I pulled it and then went like that, was this actress. And she walked out and it literally looked like I had my arm around her, even though it was me holding the door for her. And they flashed outside the picture. And they asked and made all kinds of statements about what was she doing with me? Were we dating? Were we together? Did we hook up? And I thought, I didn't even see who I held the door for. I didn't even know who it was. And it turned out to be this big movie star. And man, they can make it out to be whatever they want. They can make it out to look like whatever they want. But there's usually, when it comes to politics, a motive. So I don't have 100% surety of what this new party is, but it's not because they believe that they could go in and dethrone a Democrat or a Republican in a presidential race. That is for sure. Now, mark my words, if they do this, somehow knowing Elon, he's going to lean to the Republican side, which he did drastically with Trump's last election. Arguably won him the election. I don't believe that he's going to roll over and then do something that would hurt the Republicans enough. There's something going on here. Look out for a Latino running as the pick for, and that would really hurt the Democrats, really hurt them badly. So that's my prediction. That's what I think is really going on. And it may not be exactly that. Maybe it's not Latino, but there's something else going on here. He knows that his new party can't win an election like that, but it can help him get things done. It can help him divert. It can help him pull a Ross Perot. It could shape America. It could shape our future. It could shape an election. He knows that. Lord, we thank you for your guiding hand and your protection, Lord. Our faith in you is unrattled, Lord. We love you. We love you, Jesus. And we ask you, God, to bless this country, to help this administration bring some unification in our land. That if this third party is something that's good for us, that helps America, God bless it. Bring it on. We love that, God. We love our diversity. We love those who are patriotic, who believe in America, who fight for America, our veterans, Lord. Our veterans, we owe them everything. And so we ask you, Lord, also, please make the situation in this country better for our American veterans. They've earned it and they deserve it. In your name we pray. Amen. So that's the show. Listen, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting like. When this woman asked the question, Gail asked the question about why do I do the show? It's hard to do the show. I don't have guests on the show. I don't spend a tremendous amount of money doing the show. It's just me riffing out there on stuff that people write to me and ask me about, or that's topical in the news right now. And a lot of it politically oriented. It's to have a voice for us, for the people who believe in the things that I believe in, that believe in God, that believe in America, that are tired of getting ripped off, that are tired of all of Hollywood and all of these people who are blue, who back, and they can't name the reason why they back. They back a system that's not working, that's spending trillions of dollars that we don't have while our own people suffer. So I got a lot of reasons why I do it. But if you hit like, and if you can hit follow, if you can share the show with other people, it helps us gain momentum to have access to other things that we can do more than we do right now. So it's a small little show that I do at my home, in my studio, in my home. But I'd like to make it so that I have screens and guests and people that come on and dedicate more time to it. I'd like to have it so that these people that call in, or rather write me emails and ask me the viewer mail section at the top of the show, why can't we have you on? I'd like to have a more comprehensive system that that I could give other people a voice and debate me too. Come on and say, what do you, I mean, the stuff I get in social media, you wouldn't believe. You effing this, and your brother Alec is ashamed of you, and your brother Billy rebuke, just to the point where people in my own family have stopped following me on social media. Like, I never imagined, I got to tell you something. I never imagined that what I thought politically would ever fracture a relationship with one of my own brothers, or with my sisters, or with so my sister Jane and I both, and I'm not going to get into Jane's politics, but we both go, yeah, that's weird. Like, I never would have predicted that. That's not how we were raised. Like, you always supported your brother or sister. And I obviously don't believe in what they write about, what they preach about, what they follow, who they support. I don't use as harsh a language as some of my siblings do to describe their political adversaries. I don't know that any good is done by demonizing people or whatever, but I can point out several reasons why previous presidents that were Democratic and the things they did, and I can prove they did them. So it's just sad. It's sad, but I have a following that's growing, and I have my personal relationship with God. That I know what I'm doing is right. I know I'm speaking more what He wants, what Jesus wants, and I don't really care. It's sad. I'd like to be more aligned as a family with my siblings, but obviously they've proven that it doesn't matter that much to them. So I pray for them. I do. I pray for them every day. So God bless you, and I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.